Hello and welcome to this week's videos. This week we're going to learn a little bit more about scientific notation, do a little bit of a review of how to add and subtract, multiply and divide exponents, just do everything like that. But we've got one more kind of really big day of scientific notation, and that's going to be Monday's lesson, which is multiplying and dividing scientific notation. Last week we had a fantastic turnout on the online videos, hoping this week's just as good. So to begin, let's just look at a few things. First off, the human body consists of approximately 10 trillion cells. Just to get the vastness of that, you might go ahead and look at the table that we made and just look at how many zeros are in a trillion. It's quite a lot. Beyond that, there are approximately 7 billion humans on the planet. So what I'm wondering, and what we're going to go through and solve this lesson, is how many human cells are there on this planet. First, we're going to take our two numbers, 10 trillion and 7 billion. First off, we can't really multiply words together, so we're going to have to turn these into scientific notation. So 10 trillion, how many trillion? 10. That's going to be our coefficient. Then scientific notation always has a times 10. We'll look at our table and we'll see that it's 12, but also remember the exponents go by powers of 3. So you can just kind of count on your fingers. So you'll have 1,000 will take your first finger, million your second, billion your third, trillion your fourth. Then just count by 3 for each of your fingers. So you have 3, 6, 9, and 12. So 12 should be your exponent. So you have 10 for the coefficient, 12 is the exponent. So you have 10 times 10 to the 12th. You do the same with the 7 billion. This is for how many humans are on the planet. 7 is our coefficient, so that's going to be 7 times 10. Now we just need our exponent. The exponent, we can get it from the table, or we can count on our fingers as well. So it starts with 1,000, million, billion. That's 3 fingers, so just count by 3s for each of those fingers. So you've got 3, 6, 9. Our exponent should be 9. Okay, we're going to take these two numbers and we're going to multiply them together. So I've got 10 times 10 to the 12th multiplied by the quantity 7 times 10 to the 9th. Now there's a trick on how to do this. It's really easy to multiply scientific notation. You just got to know the tricks on how to do it. First off, we'll look at how we multiplied exponents before. So how did we multiply exponents before? Before we just added the exponents, we're going to do the same here. So I'm going to add the 12 and I'm going to add the 9 together. Now this is where it gets a little bit different than before, not anything difficult, but what I'm going to do for the coefficients is instead of adding them, I'm going to multiply them. The coefficients are just regular numbers, so multiplication is still just the same thing. So once I do that, I'll multiply the 10 and the 7, and then I'll add the 12 and the 9. My times 10 will always be there, so 7 times 10 is 70, 9 plus 12 is 21, so I should get 70 times 10 to the 21st power. Now as a scientific notation, remember we only want one number in front of the decimal. Right now we've got 70. I want it to be 7 times 10 to something, so I've got to bunny hop my decimal. I'll bunny hop over that 0, get rid of that. It's 1 bunny hop, so I'll add 1 to the exponent. I'll get 7 times 10 to the 22nd. Feel free to pause the video if you need to copy down the example. There will be a question at the end very similar to this. But with the 7 times 10 to the 22nd power, just put that into perspective, the amount of human cells on this planet is approximately the same number as there are stars in the known universe. So I mean, I think that's just a fantastically humongous number. So the code word that you'll have to input for the extra credit is Real Vampire Sparkle. Okay, so here, this will be our cheat sheet basically, so you can go ahead and write this down. We'll work on it in class on Monday as well, so you don't have to really copy it down, but you can if you want to get just a little bit of a head start. So on the left side, we have how to multiply scientific notation. We have the same example that we had in the video. The 10 times 10 to the 12th multiplied by the quantity 7 times 10 to the 9th. The first step, you're going to multiply the coefficients. The coefficients are the 10 and the 7. Then you're going to add the exponents. Then you're going to simplify. I don't have the simplify listed out into the steps, but you always want to simplify and make sure that there's just one number in front of the decimal. To divide, you're going to do just the inverse operations for each of those. So instead of multiplying the coefficients, here you're dividing them, so you're just going to divide the coefficients. 14 divided by 7, that's 2. And then you're going to subtract the exponents. 20 divided by 20 minus 9 is 11. So for the example, or for the question that you'll turn in, I want you to figure out what the quantity 2 times 10 to the 12th power times the quantity 4 times 10 to the 7th power equals. Go ahead, figure this out, put the code word down, make sure that you get your name as well, and send those in to me to get your extra credit. There will be 3 more videos following this one. If you do all 4 of them, remember that's an extra 10 points on the exam.